All right, we got the mic set. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our pre-Shabbat sermon and song program. It's going to be a wonderful program today because today's a wonderful day. Not only are we about to enter Shabbat, but it's also Rosh Chodesh. It's also the beginning of a new Jewish month, the month of Iyar. So we don't just say Good Shabbos, we also say in Yiddish, a guten Chodesh. We should have a wonderful month. Now, in Jewish tradition, a new month is not unusual. A new month is very, very special because we go according to the lunar cycle. So when a new month begins, it's not just the sun comes, the day, new day, it's January 1st, August 1st, September 1st, when nothing really is visibly changed. You see a difference. What was dark the night before is now a new sliver of light, a new beginning of growth, and a new beginning of much greater energy. So not only do we go into the energy of Shabbat, we go into the new energy of this month of Iyar. And the month of Iyar, I-Y-A-R, the month of Iyar is a special month. It's the energy of healing, and it's the energy of counting. The Hebrew word Iyar is the acrostic of the biblical verse, Ani Hashem Rofecha. I am the God, the Lord, who heals you. And although God and the Torah instructs us very clearly to go to doctors for medical care, but there's a question. Who heals the doctor? The doctor heals us, but who heals the doctor and who gives the doctor the power to heal? That is our Creator Hashem. And this takes a little bit, not a little bit, a lot more significance as we reflect upon our situation today. Today, we are so literally plagued by the coronavirus, by this disease. It's so contagious. People are so careful. We are isolating ourselves. We're in quarantine. We wear masks. But there are those that are on the front lines, taking care of our ill people of our community, the people who fall victim to this virus. They are putting themselves in harm's way. It's all the medical professionals, the doctors, the nurses, anyone working in the hospital, the first responders. They are there to heal us. But who's going to watch them? Ani Hashem Rofecha. God will give them, hopefully, the strength to be able to persevere and continue to tend to our world with all the medical needs that we need. And therefore, as we enter this month of Iyar, the month of healing, where we have that special energy of God the healer going through our medical staff, I want to begin today with a prayer for our medical staff, for the people, the nurses and the doctors and the janitors, anybody who is in the hospitals, anybody who's driving an ambulance, anybody who's putting themselves in harm's way, that God should give them healing, God should give them strength, God should save them and allow them to live their life in the calling that He has given them. So we're going to begin with a prayer for them, and I like to gives me the opportunity to welcome our guest Chazan, who's not just a Chazan. Oh, is this a Chazan? He's a tenor. He's a Chazan. He's a rabbi. He's a business executive. He's everything. And I know we appreciated his voice when he was here just a few months ago, I think, here at our center. And he's going to begin today, in addition to the prayers that he's going to do a little later, he's going to begin with a special prayer and melody. And while he sings, and no doubt that you'll be moved by his song and music, let us all think about, in gratitude and in prayer, for all the people that are right there in the front lines, making sure that we are healthy and remain healthy. Chazan Aryeh Leib, I got the name right, Aryeh Leib Horowitz.
Thank you, Rabbi. As you mentioned, this is a prayer for those that do the holy work, community work, and help those that are sick, those that are ill, and the greater community. This is the Misha Beirach that we say every Shabbos. We won't have a chance to do it this week, so we get preview right now. Yehi Shabbat Esino Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Uhu Yevorech Es Kol HaKol HaKadosh Hazeh Im Kol Kehilo Es HaKodesh Hey Munisayem Uvenayem Uvenoisayem V'chol Asher Elohim ומי העיר שמיחדים בדכנס יועש לספר ומי שבואים בסויכם לסבולת ומי שאינו הסתים נהר למוער ויין קידוש עולה ותלה Ofas the Yoerechim Utzetakadani וחבו על מי שעוסקים בצורכי ציבור באמונה Oy HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael Tzicharam V'yasir Mehem Kol Machalo V'yirpo Lecha וישלח לכל העולם וישלח ברכה ויצלחו בכל מעשה ידיהם אם כל ישראל
Koyach, that was so moving and so touching, and may God, in fact, receive those prayers that went from the depth of your heart and channel all that energy for the healing, for those who need the healing, both the patients and the doctors and the entire world. There's Koyach Hazen Hurwitz, and for all of us, hang in there. Right after the few words of the sermon, we will hear another few melodies for Shabbat by our guest Chazan and tenor. So, my dear friends, let me start with a little story. There's once this couple that were in their home, as we know, and they were not really getting along. Wife was always screaming at the guy, and the guy was unfortunately screaming back and beating up his wife, and it was just not a good situation. But he was honest with himself, this man, and he said, let me go to the rabbi. Let me try to get some help. He needed help, and that's very good when you know you need help. And he goes to the rabbi, says, Rabbi, what can I do? The situation at our home is just not good. Rabbi says, I have a solution. Tomorrow, when the stress builds up again, cut it short, just go out of the house and take a walk for a couple miles. And try doing that every day, and you see it would help. Okay, he tried. Lo and behold, next day, the stress level is rising, and it's getting more and more. And the husband says, all right, honey, I don't know if he called her honey, he said, all right, I'm leaving and I'm going for a walk. All right. After a month, the rabbi decides he hasn't heard from this fellow. Let's see what's going on. Hopefully he's good. So he calls the fellow. He says, Yankel, Marty, what's going on? How's your marriage? He says, it's wonderful. So, well, did you take my advice? He says, sure, I took your advice. And now I'm about 60 miles away from the house and I haven't seen my wife in a month. It's great. Got a little exercise. And I feel this is a story that just reflects us. We are in such a different place than we were when we began our sessions a month ago. We're so different than the place we were 6 weeks ago when we started our reaction and how are we going to deal with this new reality in our life. And things are so different. And people are still and even more anxious. People in this world are still and even more unsettled. It's not gotten better. Things may have settled a little bit, but we still have no clue what's going on. I speak to people daily, people that are on the top of the business level to regular employees, rabbis, and community members. There's such an unsettling and growing unsettling feeling within our community. It's so different. We are miles away from where we were when we began. How can we help? How can we help ourselves? And this is the time where we go to our faith and we go to our religion and we knock on the door and we see what's in there. What can we draw to inspire us, to guide us, and help us move forward? And as I mentioned, today is a new month. And this is the time we reflect, what does my Judaism tell me? Not about what happened with Moses, not about what happened with Adam and Eve, because frankly, that may not be so relevant today. How does my Judaism inform me now, today, in probably one of the most unsettling times of our history, certainly recent history? Point number one. The first point that our tradition tells us is nothing is random. Nothing just happens without a purpose. There is a purpose. There's something going on here. And just the faith in knowing that there is something beneath here that may show itself in a month and 2 or 4, but it's not just aimless, needs to be a source of encouragement. But in a sense, that's a little abstract. It doesn't help me today. How do I create a certain sense of settled in this unsettled times? The second thing that our tradition tells us, besides that nothing is random, but it teaches us about the concept of the energy of time. As we've discussed in one of our previous sessions, that time has a soul. Just like every person has something to offer in this world, every moment and every time has its energy. And as we mentioned earlier, our month, our calendar is a lunar cycle. There's a constant movement. There's constant growth. There's ups and there's downs, but there's progress. There's always moving forward. And each month has its energy. So if today on Rosh Chodesh, on the first month of Iyar, we feel unsettled and we're looking for inspiration of bringing some calmness into our life, let's look at what the time is. It's not an abstract study about the energy of time. It's God's gift to us to draw from. Let's open the wrapper, open the box. What is God giving to us in this new month, in this month of Iyar? So the first thing, as we mentioned before, Iyar is the month of healing. Ani Hashem Rofecha. There is healing. And there's healing when you go to heal, what you're really saying is you're going to a doctor. You're going to a human being. Although, as we mentioned, Ani Hashem Rofecha, the energy and the healing comes from Hashem, from God, but it's channeled through the energy of the human being, of the doctor. And the message this tells us is that it's in our hands. Although there may be a greater purpose that God may have for this, there are things that are in our hands. You see, the past month of Nisan, the past Jewish month, was a month of Passover. It was a month of great miracles, splitting of the sea, the Exodus, the 10 plagues. Those are great miracles, but those are the acts of God. It's not something we can do. However, this month tells us that in addition to believing that everything is in the hands of God and everything is a miracle, you and I can still become active partners because this is a relationship with God. So although from time to time there are miracles that are needed, but God gives us the power to be able to make miracles in our own life. And maybe our miracles may not split the sea or do a plague or create an exodus. Our miracles can bring meaning into our day. And that is the second uniqueness of this month of ER. You know what's different about this month than any other month of the year? There is no great divine miracle that happened. We have the story of Purim, we have the story of Passover, and the story of Shavuot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Hanukkah. Those are all holidays that God performed a miracle. You know what is so, and in those months, it's not a 30-day celebration. Each of those miracles, a day or 2 or 7 or 8, this month, every single day has a uniqueness. And the uniqueness of every single day is that we count the Omer, that we count the day, which is a unique celebration and observance, which means, in other words, this is the month that gives us the power to make things happen. It's the month that we have to realize every day is a miracle. Every day is something unique. Every day is something unique that you and I can draw out of. It doesn't need to rely on the visible interference of God through splitting a sea. This is such a powerful message. And I'll tell you why. I heard a quote from one of the greatest philosophers, greatest psychologists, greatest doctors of all time, Dr. Seuss. And I heard this quote in the name of Dr. Seuss, whether he said it or not, I don't care, because the quote is right on. And the quote goes that sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. Let me quote again. Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. This is what our tradition is trying to do. This is it. This is the core of everything that the Torah wants to tell us. Be present in the moment. There's no such thing as a random moment. Don't look back at this moment and realize we missed an opportunity. Try your hardest to find something of growth in this moment, because that's what this moment is about. And this is why it's such an important message, the month of Iyar. Be focused on the day. Realize there's something here. Don't, God forbid, look back and say that you've wasted this time. So many things have changed. You know, masks, families together, families apart because they can't get together, communication, you know, no more parties, no more sport. The NFL draft, everything changed. Nothing is the same. You know, I walked into the supermarket earlier. It felt like an airport, like after 9/11. You remember we used to go to the airport, you take the ticket, you go straight to the gate. 9/11 comes, there's gates, there's rules. You go here, you go there, one way. I went to the market a couple hours ago. First of all, there's one-way traffic in each aisle. And then when you go to the checkout counter, there's a line. There's a rope. You can't go here. There's security. You go to this one. You go to that one. It's literally after 9/11. Everything has changed. But amongst all those changes, all those little changes, there's one overall thing that for me has changed, and has changed for everything. The things that we do, those are things that we do and change. But what really changed is that nobody knows what's going on. You know, we never know what's going on. We try, we think, we plan, we project, but at the end of the day, things always change. But sometimes we think we have it all planned out. One thing is certain today: no one knows what's going on. No one knows what's going to be next week. No one knows what's going to be in a month. No one knows what's going to be 3 days. You know, there's a saying, there's 3 types of knowledge. The things you know that you don't know, like why did Harry Roseman pass over a higher wide receiver for someone who could go to the second draft? We know we don't know why. So there are things you know you don't know, and then there are things that you don't even know that you don't know. And that's where we are. That's why it's unsettling. We just don't know. And no one knows. And we've never been in that space that we are totally out of control. You can't plan for next week. But we don't know what's going to happen next week. We don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. But one thing we do know, we know that today I am here blessed with life for God. When I woke up in the morning, I know that today I am around and today is valuable and today I have a plan. And that's the message of ER. Focus on the day, because even when you think you know, we really don't know the future. Focus on what you do know. How am I going to make today valuable? What is my day going to be? And when we're able to focus on that, that makes that day so much more settled. Of course, we have to plan, we have to project, but don't allow that to consume you. Be aware and present of the blessing of life that you have today. Create the awareness of the positivity that is around you. So I want to conclude with a little story that focuses on this and then wrap it up with a message. It's a story of an individual named Mr. Hager. Mr. Freddie Hager lived in London. And at one time, he was actually the chairman of the London Diamond Bourse. And it was during the time when the diamonds, the first time around, went down, and the value was a terrible disruption in the value of diamonds and in the entire market. Excuse me. And he was the head, and he saw all the challenges and the struggles, and he was very pessimistic. He was very upset. He was very down. What's happening in the whole world now was happening in his world of the diamond. So he happened to have a relation. He wasn't a Chabad Chassid, a Lubavitch Chassid, but he did have a relationship with the Rebbe. And he had a chance to speak to the Rebbe, and he just let it all out, how terrible things are. And this is what the Rebbe told him. And listen to this message. It's not rocket science. It's real life science. He says, Freddie, I don't know if you use the first name, Mr. Hager, the problem is you're being too pessimistic. There's too much pessimism in your life. Try to hang around people that are positive. If you hang around positive people, you will become more positive, and that will bring more positivity into your life. See, we have that choice to create the reality we want to live in. What is going on around the world, what's going to happen in the future, we don't know. But we know that today, with all the challenges and struggles that we have the choice to create positive energy, to read things that bring out the positive things, the truth of things, but the positive things, because there's so much positive that's going on. And when we choose positive people, we can create positivity. And in fact, Mr. Hager went back to his office in London, and he was working on this positivity. Into his office walks another big famous name in the diamond industry, William Goldberg, who was the chairman of the New York Diamond Dealer Club. So it's kind of the counterpart. Now, Freddie was a very sincere guy, and he really didn't enjoy hanging around William, because William was a little bit of more of a boastful individual. You always knew how great he was, and that's not really what Freddie was. But this time when he walked in, he thought about the Rebbe's words. Be positive, hang around positive people. And one thing William was very positive. So Freddie overlooked the negative part of what he didn't like about William, the pessimistic part, and he wanted to channel that positive energy. He said, William, come in. Let's have a chat. What's up? And William says, actually, as bad as the market is, I want to buy. So if you have any good things for me to buy, I'm in. Let me see. And Freddie says, I actually have the special kind of diamonds that he liked to buy. And he brought a deal together, and the guys showed William the diamonds, and William said, a deal, I'm buying it. Freddie says, Freddie was pessimistic. Can't be. Here in Europe, in the diamond industry, we have a rule: never show excitement. If somebody tells you he's going to buy something right away, he's lying. You have to always be reserved so you can negotiate. So Bill, you're just joking with me. And this was $100,000 deal back then. And Bill says, no, in America, I'm telling you, buy it. And he gave him the deposit and he gave Freddie his broker's fee. And it was an amazing, you could call it a miracle. A miracle from whom? It was a miracle by Freddie, by being positive and trying to welcome positivity into his life, which yielded its results. Now, that doesn't mean every time we become positive, we're going to make a $100,000 deal. But I guarantee you that every time we bring more positive thought, reading, and just work hard, it's not easy. This is the work of ER. It's not easy. It's not easy to make a miracle. But if you work hard, you can do it, of being focused on a positive energy, on positivity. And when you do that, I want to share this last thought. We all know about a different time in biblical history when the world was plagued, when the whole world was attacked. It's called the flood of Noah. And all of you who know the imagery from Hebrew school, wherever, we know the story of Noah's Ark. And the image of Noah's Ark is that as the waters were flooding the world, the ark didn't sink, but the floods themselves, waters, kept raising the ark higher and higher. And that imagery to me is very important, because in the world of God, in the world of truth, in the world of Torah, it's not easy to absorb this truth, but it is the truth, that if we have the faith and we have the positive energy, then the more challenges and struggles that rain down, that it doesn't sink us, but in fact, it lifts us up. And the trick is to remain positive. Because if you remain positive, then as our famous Dr. Seuss said, when we look back, this moment won't be a memory. This moment will be a blessing. You will have been lifted up by this. And this will become the miracle of ER. This will become the healing of ER. This will become the healing of this Shabbat, the healing of refocusing ourselves and working hard at incorporating positive messaging, positive thoughts, positive ideas that will allow us to feel the blessing of the day, focus on the blessing of the day. Then the cumulative effect on focusing on all the blessing that is in our life will lift us up above these troubling waters, that we will have success, we will have joy, and we will have, most of all, strength. So I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom, a good Chodesh, a good month. May this be a Shabbat of a new month, of new energy, a new energy of healing for those who need it and those that are offering it, a new energy of optimism for all of us, and an energy of success, that we come together within ourselves, we come together amongst ourselves, we reinforce that message of positivity, that message of value of every day, and lift ourselves up to that wonderful day after this whole mess, where we will find the value and meaning in everything that we have done. I want to wish you a good Shabbos, and I want to welcome back onto our screen our Chazan, Aryeh Leib, who's going to give us a slow Hasidic melody, hopefully for us to reflect on these ideas, because it's not an easy challenge to be positive in this type of situation. But God is giving us that strength. God is giving us that ability. Let's open up that wrapper and let's unpack it over the coming months. Aryeh Leib, let me mute myself.
So this is a nigun. This is a nigun known as the Shabbos Yom Tov nigun. There are many as such, and it's the words that are kind of associated with our words that we say in the prayers of Shabbos day, and goes like this. If you know it, feel free to sing along.
Yasha Koyach, Aryeh Leib. That was beautiful, and everyone hang in there for one more nigun, one more lively Shabbos nigun. But before we do that, I want to remind you all that we have our programs all, let me get that right here, we have them all week long. If you go to our website, virtualjewishcenter.org, we have programs and teachings from our rabbis and our rebbitzins and our youth department. We have moved everything virtual to enable you to have many of these sessions. And if you enjoy today's program, share the link with others. If you feel that this is a message that others can have, it's not my message. It's a message of our faith, of our tradition. I'm just a messenger. So if you feel this is valuable, just copy the link, send it to your friends, share it on Facebook. The most important thing is be that agent of healing in the world. If you're a doctor, you can heal medically. If you're not a doctor, you can heal emotionally. But take this message of positivity and let that spread. Let it spread amongst yourself, your family, and your friends. I'm going to sign off now. Well, I'm still here, but we're going to conclude with Aryeh Leib, who's going to sing another Shabbos melody to give us that inspiration of Shabbos. Aryeh Leib, you there?
Thank you.
Hey.
Glad we could conclude with the Mizmar Shir. So if you do know it, please, once again, sing along from wherever you find yourself, in your home, on your couch, at your computer, wherever you are.
And if you're not,
What's
if
that?
you can't sing along, just clap along. Although we don't see everybody, but we feel that energy. So let's join in with Aryeh Leib.
All right. I am Mizmar Shir. Shir Yoyim HaShabbos, Mizmor 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 Shir. Shir Yoyim HaShabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. Mizmar, mizmar, shir, shir le'yoyim HaShabbos. Mizmar, mizmar, shir, shir le'yoyim HaShabbos. Mizmar, mizmar, shir, shir le'yoyim HaShabbos. Mizmar, mizmar, shir, oy shir le'yoyim HaShabbos. When the whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos, the whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. Good job, everyone.
I want everyone to know that we are inviting Aryeh back. We haven't disclosed the date yet for a little kumzitz, a little longer presentation that we had today. And stay tuned. It was really moving and really touching. And I want to wish everyone good Shabbos. I would invite you to do a little more, but it's Erev Shabbos for you, and we have other programs coming up in 20 minutes with our shul. So we need to sign off. I'm actually reluctantly signing off, and it's always better to leave people wanting more than to say they had too much. So have a wonderful Shabbos, and I look forward very much to being with everybody again. Our next program, other than the synagogue programs in a half hour, will be on Sunday morning at 11. But go to our website, did I take that off again? virtualjewishcenter.org, and hope to see you again all soon. So have a wonderful Shabbos. Let me sign off. And as they say in Yiddish, sei mir gesinnt, a good Shabbos and a good Chodesh.